Shadowbox is an elite team of online specialists that can respond to a variety of client situations and needs based on real-time events. Our researchers uncover what others cannot use, cutting-edge intelligence mapping systems, private detective networks, ex-intelligence agents and officers, deep data research, AI algorithms to locate and analyze opportunities or threats. Our digital networks mobilize in seconds using decentralized, discrete solutions. Basically, a paid-for, like Kiwi farms, in essence. In Tim's excitement to really show that he's now aligned with Jeremy of the Quartering, he has effectively released information on Eliza Blue, and in doing that, may have just leaked information, which he has now since deleted. Timcast News has deleted once he got called out for it, which may have implications that Matt Taibbi is involved with Shadowbox.
Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. I
was Jeremy, and then I had to see your face and be reminded of this whole thing.
To cover this, I don't know how people are going to feel about it, but I'm covering it, you know, from a position of like, look, the hatch has been buried, and I'm actually trying to be like, you know, go at this from a positive perspective. I know a lot of my viewers were mad yesterday, and I believe they have every right to be with me saying, okay, look, you know, all is forgiven, let's move forward. I think that people have every right to feel that the way they do, and many of you let me know that like you weren't loving that. You know, I had just, you know, forgiven him and said move on. But
is this clickbait? Unfortunately, yes.
Allow me to explain where I'm coming from, because
so I don't even know this is worth recapping. Tim Pool, Quartering, got into a massive fight over the last couple weeks. Could be completely contrived and created solely for the purpose of inflating both of their brands, audiences, and whatever. But Tim Pool had a very emotional breakdown because basically Eliza Blue is at the center of all this. She is a swerf and anti-human trafficking advocate, survivor. They all claim that she is not a survivor, and they all started posting pictures because the right has this really big problem with consent. They haven't really figured out consent. They keep saying, well, if someone at any point has made a sexually suggestive photo and released it consensually, then that means that they are obviously someone who is open to all forms of sex. So it's not bad for me to post other things of them, right? Like that whole I Hypocrite thing that showed a picture of Pokimane, and he's like, you know, a picture of her tweet where she was talking about, you know, the horrifying experience of having to see AI generated hardcore pornography of herself, and then a picture of one of her tweets being like, please stop sexualizing me, alongside a picture of her that he's interpreting as her sexualizing herself. And it's like, okay, so you still don't understand what consent means. In one instance, it's completely fine. Like, someone can do sex work and sell pictures of them doing sex work and still not consent in a different scenario to you having a different photo of them. In this case, yes, they have consented that for a certain amount of money, you can buy pictures of them naked or having sex and, you know, have them for the pleasure of your own home and privacy. In the other scenario, this has been stolen and someone released it. Look at the Pamela Anderson sex tape. That's like a perfect example of this that encapsulates the whole thing. Pamela Anderson had released previously consensual nude photos of herself in Playboy and other magazines, and there was also a sex tape that she did not consent to having been released. It was stolen from her home, and then someone else released that and sold that on the internet, and it became one of the world's first viral videos. There's two different scenarios. She can still feel violated, and she did, and has openly expressed that both she felt violated by the very release and sale of that original sex tape, and also of knowing that there was a TV show, a comedy, being based off of that entire experience. And also, in addition to that, consent to releasing naked photos. All those things can be true simultaneously. Either way, the entirety of the right kind of started being like, well, if Eliza Blue really says that they were a sexual survivor, why is there a sexual music video that she stars in where she's barely clothed? What was going on there? Is this not an example? And then Eliza Blue counter to this is getting every single person who posts pictures or links or videos to that old content to get it taken down, and to get it taken down immediately. Now, they are claiming that Eliza Blue was or was not an actual sexual survivor. What we do know is Eliza Blue has an incredibly, actually they all do, let's be fucking frank, the Quartering, Jeremy, and Eliza Blue both have very disgusting takes on children and consent and sexual encounters with children. They both made abhorrent statements in regards to that. That's what had Tim and the Quartering supposedly fighting. I don't know if it's real. Anyways, Tim had a huge meltdown on his stream which is just about like how the right is all fucking fighting each other right now. He's like Daily Wire versus Steven Crowder, blah blah blah. You know, me versus the quartering, this person versus this person. Didn't mention Ron DeSantis versus Trump, but in every case, let them fight. If Ron DeSantis going after Trump, fucking, that's a thing of utter beauty. Amazing. Please go do that thing. Have the two of them battle it out and call each other groomers rather than calling LGBTQ plus people groomers. That's good.
Now, what I suspected would happen now.
Rick Scott versus McConnell, also fucking
I
awesome
still
and
think
based.
that Tim's show is a massive net positive in our space, and I've shared my.
Am I allowed to talk now, or are we still fascist here? Fascism is when I get timed out on internet chats.
My grievances with him publicly and privately now, and I think that I was fine saying, look, whatever will be. People that wanted to unsubscribe from him clearly did. People that wanted to unsubscribe from me did. And it is what it is. But
is this retirement true? So basically, what Tim Pool did is he was like, if the people want it, I'll do an Elon Musk Vox Populi, Vox Die style poll. The poll was like, should I quit Timcast and retire? The poll said yes. And so the next day he's like, I'm now retiring Timcast and I will be consolidating, blah, blah, blah. He's just moving his channels around and just, that's all he's doing. There's no deeper meaning here.
Tim, I think, he covered the Eliza Blue stuff on his show, and he seemed to be
this part is true though. Tim has done a complete 180. This is where the story is going to go from useless gutter trash to I have massive revelations that other people haven't talked about or I think know about yet. And this one's big. It involves Matt Taibbi and his involvement with a, let's just say, a shadowy organization.
Fine to talk about it. He said a lot of kind things about a lot of people, including myself, people said. And that was kind of him. He didn't have to. He said his bit, apologized, and moved on. But there is, I'm still human, and I see he's taking a lot of heat still. I feel like, look, he addressed it. I know we can, people aren't happy with how long it took, but he addressed it. But now it seems like, this bizarre thread, he's talking about retirement, hanging up the show. And I can only, I respect his position. The guy's worked extremely hard over the years, and he's probably.
You could also, to be honest with you, don't get me wrong, I want Tim Pool to retire. I'd like them both to retire. I'd like them all to retire. In fact, it'd be amazing. And then they could all pursue their truths, their dreams. James O'Keefe can go do musical theater. Tim Pool can be in a Nickelback knockoff band, and all this shit can finally cease, and maybe a couple more LGBTQ plus people will have slightly easier lives because they're not constantly being targeted by these assholes. Malloy, thank you for the prime.
Built up enough of a passive income that he can do that. Maybe he'll just bring someone else to host the show so it can continue on. We have passive viewers and fighters. That's a fair feeling about the way I vote. I've gotten more progress, changing minds, creating alternatives. It's a sabbatical or something like that.
It's obviously a matrix attack on all of us at once. That proves it.
Take some time, and I think you're doing.
Honestly, this goes for, I guess, leftist or lefty content creators. It's totally fine to take time off. You don't need the Sigma grind set 24/7. You don't need to make, 8 videos a day on 5 different channels just to be able to maintain it, especially if you've reached the levels. If you are an empire, if you're a Tim Pool, if you can actually have multiple compounds, dozens of employees, people who handle everything, you basically just need to show up, sit down, and talk for an hour to 2 hours every day, and that's it. That's the extent. The rest of the time you get to skateboard, have parties, raise chickens, whatever you want to do. That's it. You don't need to live that way. Here's where things got super interesting. So Timcast basically makes this post where Tim and Timcast have officially turned on Eliza Blue. He's kind of thinking that the whole thing's a conspiracy theory, that maybe there's a big PR firm that's looking to get people on the right to fight each other. Typical Tim Pool stuff. It's the only way Tim Pool can view the lens of the world is through conspiracy theories. And if the Daily Mail and Andy No haven't explained to him in very simple terms what's happening, then he'll just run wild with his own conspiracy theory / Marvel movie adaptation interpretation. But anyways, Timcast News releases Cashman, Eliza Blue, and the Perpetual Trauma Machine, Part 3. And then it has a whole bunch of information on a company called Shadowbox. I'm going to explain what Shadowbox is in 1 second. Then, Rod Weber asks, whoa, did Timcast just out Matt Taibbi? Shit's about to get real, hashtag Shadowbox. And then the Nose News, which I believe is an investigative reporter for Vice, has a whole thread that I'm going to read for you. After Rod posted this, Timcast deletes the tweet that had all the evidence on Shadowbox and Matt Taibbi's potential involvement with Shadowbox. So this was a big oopsie that the internet didn't even notice, because too much other stuff was both going on, and also some of these words and terms might be new to some people. So you might hear all the things I've said and be like, what is a Matt Taibbi? And what is a box of the shadow? I have no idea what you're saying or talking about right now. Let's get to some of the meat of what this is. What is Shadowbox? The so-called reputation management firm. It's a chop shop where Ed Batowski, Chavez, DeFango Chavez, Thomas Schoenberger, WikiLeaks affiliated PR guy Trevor Fitzgibbons spun out the Hillary put a hit on Seth Rich yarn. There's a lot of chicanery. Shadowbox is an elite team of online specialists that can respond to a variety of client situations and needs based on real-time events. We use a combination of tactics and strategies to effectively promote your content, operation, or services to create viral marketing campaigns that effectively target organic growth systems. We take targeted marketing to a new level of access by identifying positive and negative promotions to prudently manage social media online presence and engagement in real time, which translates to sales and higher visibility. We can also help mitigate militia-like tactics used in targeted harassment campaigns to effectively thwart and vanquish internet threats, character assassination attempts, deleterious media, embarrassing or potentially damaging links on Google. We act as your silent partner and protection in the vast online world and offer you cutting-edge tactics and securities to ensure your online presence are protected from increasingly more complex worlds of creative presence. People on the left are probably like, whoa, I didn't know these things exist. Yeah, I mean, right-wingers have the kind of money they can pour into things like this. So yeah, if you happen to be a large public figure on the right, there's some things you can't get away from. You know, I mean, if you're the quartering and you have made a whole bunch of videos talking about lowering the age of consent and other gross things, or how to protect the potential catching of child porn on your computer, you know, the fact that those videos exist and are on the internet, it's going to be hard to be shadowboxed out of that reality. But you know, for certain other people, they might want to spend money on something like this that goes on the attack. The best defense is good offense, right? Our background range from covert reputation strategists to technical specialists, PR experts, global influence caliber contacts. We specialize in uncovering unique intelligence and social business interaction methodologies and apply them to ensure rapid deployment virality across the media spectrum. Our researchers uncover what others cannot use, cutting-edge intelligence mapping systems, private detective networks, ex-intelligence agents and officers, deep data research, AI algorithms to locate and analyze opportunities or threats. Our digital networks mobilize in seconds using decentralized, discrete solutions. Basically, a paid-for like Kiwi farms, in essence. We'll be explaining more about Shadowbox soon, but for now, we're just going to sit back and soak up the pure joy of all the streamers, grifters, and dreamers who knew all about it as they scramble like cockroaches to get out from under the weight of the closeted skeletons. The story behind Guccifer 2.0, where the leaks came from a show they've all been on its own. We've seen deliberate placed Russian fingerprints, efforts to forge perceived associations to WikiLeaks, DNC breach claims discredited, how Guccifer 2.0 was used, the Trump opposition research like an identity card, the day after it was cited by CrowdStrike executives in a Washington Post article, noted how they could never seem to hack the DNC, lacked syntactical traits of a Russian speaking English that has been shown and most likely operating within US time zones based on email time plan, etc., etc. I'll link to all of this if you want to read them out in detail, but suffice to say, this is basically the team that was responsible for not only planting but accelerating a lot of the Seth Rich conspiracy theory. Not familiar with the Seth Rich conspiracy theory. This was a conspiracy theory that involved the potential for the highest levels of the corporate democratic institutions such as Hillary Clinton, as well as others, to personally attack and or assassinate someone else because they were going to leak vital information that could be compromising to them. It has been thoroughly debunked. It is not true. Unfortunately, people like Julian Assange played very fast and loose with it, up until the point where it was pretty evident that, yes, in fact, it was irrefutably wrong. Tim Pool promoted it heavily back in the day. He's deleted all the videos in which he was promoting it, but he was starting to drop huge percentages of likelihood. I would put it at 67%, 70% likelihood, 87% likelihood. Kim.com has all the sources. Kim.com. Hard to find those videos, but if you want to watch them, Hey, it's Vadim has an entire video where he, yes, collected all the receipts, put them together, and so it's pretty hard to walk away from it. But there's a lot of people on the clown shoes left who also run with the Seth Rich conspiracy theory, people such as Jimmy Dore, who love being like, and here's the thing. You can be mad at the corporate Democrats for a fuck ton of reasons. You can also be mad at Hillary Clinton for a fuck ton of reasons that are real. Hello, Libya. You know, you don't need to go into this wonderful world of, well, and also what if they're doing targeted assassinations because certain amounts of information are about to come out. And then the family of Seth Rich is like, can you please all stop that's not true. That never happened. This is not some vast conspiracy where Hillary Clinton actually got him assassinated directly, like blah blah blah. Please stop doing this. P.S. If you're wondering whether there's anything in the Twitter files about Shadowbox and why it hasn't been publicly shared, did Matt Taibbi meet with Trevor Fitz and Thomas Schoenberger, all these individuals? If so, many of the players, minus Matt Taibbi, were involved in various permeations of the Seth Rich and QAnon conspiracies. Having spoken with folks here, it appears that people have lost trust in me, and I believe I am attempting to sabotage Shadowbox. I have no idea where any of it comes from. I am at no time have I ever tried to sabotage Shadowbox, nor have I ever solicited anyone to invest in the Silent Partner, which is not even a firmware company anymore because the business account was so in debt it was cancelled and set up immediately after I was taken down. I met with Taibbi and Howard yesterday to try and close deals for Shadowbox, not myself. I met with Joe for the same thing. If he's able to pull this effort together, Shadowbox could potentially be consultants. Why this is fucked up, if Matt Taibbi was in fact involved in any of this or has collaboration or correlation, it's already really fucked up that he's openly doing PR for Elon Musk. And he's like, I did not make any money from this. And it's like, okay, so you think that's better that you're doing that for free? Either way. It would be incredibly fucked up if Matt Taibbi is in fact working with some of these organizations, either to provide information for them, collaborate with them, to plant stories for them. Again, I don't like dabbling in this kind of side of the internet, so I'm just leaving it at this is the actual on the ground real information we have. Timcast feuding led to him eventually going out against Eliza Blue. Timcast wanted to blame what Eliza Blue had been doing, which I don't think you need to go to a conspiracy theory. I don't think you need to go to not even a conspiracy theory, but one of these giant organizations like Shadowbox. I think Eliza Blue has the power to contact YouTube and get stuff taken down, or to contact Elon and get stuff taken down off Twitter, rather than this has to be some organization like Shadowbox doing it. However, in Tim's excitement to really show that he's now aligned with Jeremy of the Quartering, he has effectively released information on Eliza Blue, and in doing that may have just leaked information, which he has now since deleted. Timcast News has deleted once he got called out for it, which may have implications that Matt Taibbi is involved with Shadowbox. Now, that's as far as facts on the ground, that's as far as we know, but it's pretty wild sometimes when you hear these kind of things and you realize, because like I say this as someone who, I guess, what would you want to call me, B tier in terms of like my reach in political news, entertainment, comedy circles, whereas like there's obviously much huger streamers and stuff like that, but still there's certainly enough people who know me and or hate me. I don't get calls or contact from anyone involved in these kind of organizations. Like, and maybe that does happen to some people. Maybe there are some leftists who are like, hi, I happen to work for a foundation and we want to involve you in this campaign that we're doing. But like, I haven't gotten any of that. I get fucking Raid Shadow Legends in my inbox. You know, it's like, hey, Lance, we'll offer you like $600 or $700 to do Raid Shadow Legends. And it's like, nah. And it's like, hey, Lance, we'll offer you a couple grand if you want to release your own line of NFTs. Yes. And then you can mint them. And nah, like that's the kind of shit I'm getting. You know, and maybe it's because one, I'm deeply unserious, and that's a fair call out. I accept this. Two, I openly say that I'm an entertainer, but probably three, and the biggest one is that there isn't really an organized network at the highest levels that go all the way from, say, like the Bernie Sanders and the Squad to the actual fucking online progressive media that they work with, and or think tanks behind the scenes who are collaborating with both to be like, yes, and now we have to get you to release a certain kind of story or narrative or something like that. Like I don't get these kind of offers, you know. Delaware Division of Corporate Filings for Shadowbox Strategies. Deposition from former Shadowbox partner Thomas Schoenberger. Alleged direction from Ed Butowski and the Shadowbox crew to find out what's going on with Seth Rich's father. More Schoenberger Depot. Matt Couch is an influencer, and Cassandra Fairbanks, who's one of Tim Pool's, I think Tim Pool's head either editors or producers right now, allegedly very close relationship with Ed Butowski, the financial advisor at the center of the since debunked and retracted Fox News story about Seth, and also Kim.com. Someone with more talent and skill, such as a Hey It's Vadim, is going to be able to tell an incredible story here and put a lot of pieces together, because the Seth Rich conspiracy theory and the involvement of Tim Pool regularly promoting it may go deeper than him just being an online clown for the clicks, and may go a little bit deeper for Kim.com as well, because as far as like evidence we have, there's all the video footage of Tim constantly pushing the story, and it seems like he's mostly doing it just because, you know, it furthers his narrative, the anti-DNC, look, Hillary Clinton is working to assassinate people, or maybe some people on the inside are doing that kind of stuff, we don't know. But yeah, there's now even more stuff to come out, and but that's as far as is my current understanding and interpretation. I don't wanna put my own beanie theories out there, so in terms of just the raw information, that's it. Here is the thread if you want to go over it and look through some of the receipts. Why was this bad? Because of Matt Taibbi being a real... Yeah, well, that's the thing. Matt Taibbi's cover, like, people are pretty astute if they're already terminally online when they talk about this stuff. You'll see most people, whether it's like, you know, the Sam Cedars or stuff like that, frankly call out what are opinion journalists versus actual journalists. Like opinion journalists, and I don't even consider myself an opinion journalist. I'm not a journalist, okay? Just so you know, I'm just a straight up opinion piece on the internet, filtering all the things I see in here and through this to that into there, and then you hear it in here. That's what's going on here. But real journalists, people who are actually doing investigative journalism, who are at the front lines, who you know, have to risk a lot by protecting their sources and double checking and triple checking everything to make sure that their story is in fact accurate and they are not just spreading fake news. That's hard ass work. That's very different than people who are like, hey, I'm going to take the hard work that they've done, and then I'm going to go on here on the internets, and I'm going to tell you my opinion on the hard work that they all did. They're all lying to you. They're making you out to be sheeple. It's the fake news media, right? Blah blah blah. Like, money, please. That's the whole sequence. Yeah, it's funny. Matt Binder, who is an internet person, also does real journalism. He will double check a source, you know, before going forward, and then protect sources. Same, I mean, Ken Klippenstein's a very good example. Like, just rock solid protection of sources all the time.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback, because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.